The sun started setting beyond the horizon, and the city still visible in the east was little by little being absorbed by mist. I couldn't tell where it is really. I couldn't tell where it is really located because of the fields ahead were disrupted by forests, but its buildings still rose above them as the central element of the diorama. The city stood mute, as if hovering over the world, looking down with a silent reproach at my trivial attempts to reach it. According to my calculations, I had walked much more than 2 or 3 kilometers, which was the theoretical distance to the city. I stopped to rest in the shade of a couple of times, and the evening coolness became my savior. However, there could be no city at all, and I'm just running like a hamster at a wheel, feeling the exhaustion in the distance I covered, but with my destination somewhere outside the cage. I remembered yesterday's thoughts about the key hanging right under the ceiling. It would certainly be useful to me now. Maybe there are no answers at all. I'm too tired even to think about it. Plus, that enraged outburst of the girls. Ah, screw it. I sat down on the side of the road and raising a little dust storm from the ground, which covered me and made me cough. Tears filled my eyes. No. When I opened them again, Yulya stood before me. There seem to be advantages to being a cat. You move much faster than humans. Oops. Where are you going? She asked, paying no attention to my words. I'm going right there. I waved a hand to the direction of the city. But why? Where are the others? They went back to the camp. I see. So why are you going there? Because I got lost in thought. What else is there to do? What will happen if I just sit here? Nothing. That's what I mean. Yulya looked at me intently and sat beside me. I would like to help, she suddenly said in a quiet voice. Then help. I don't know how. Tell me about that city, about this world. Why am I here? How do I get back? I don't know. Well, I mean, it always was like that. You come to the camp in a bus, spend a week here, and then, regardless of the outcome, everything repeats. And there are many of you. They are all different. What do you mean, different? Not like you. You're the only one like this. That's why I can talk to you, and the others just don't understand. What don't they understand? They disappear sometimes. Yulya kept talking, ignoring my questions. That's the way things should be. I have no idea why, but they should. They do not return here after 7 days, but then new one comes who are just like the previous ones. Everyone is the same in the beginning, almost the same. The differences come after some time, especially when they have understood that everything should repeat itself again and again. Does that mean that I'm destined to walk in circles too? I don't know. This time it's different. Why does it all happen? Who are those others? She looked at me uncomprehendingly. But they are you. What do you mean, me? You and all the others, all those others. She groused, trying to find the right words. You are all the same. So are they clones of me or something? What are clones? Copies. Like 2 identical mushrooms you prepare for the winter. There are no 2 identical mushrooms, Yulya said seriously. Imagine that there are. Identical mushrooms? Maybe, I don't know. God, this is a nightmare. I put my head on the knees and closed my eyes. We sat in silence for several minutes. I really wanted to understand what was on Yulya's mind. After all, even if she really knows nothing, then she should at least have some thoughts about the things that are happening. Okay, was should we do? Oh, das hasse ich auch so mega, wenn Mädchen immer so, oh, ich weiß nicht sagen. Brrr. Schreib doch einfach irgendwas. Okay, what should I do? I asked in a serious tone. She looked at me uncomprehendingly again. What would you advise me to do? I don't know. What would you do in my place? Me? In your place? But that will never happen. Ich glaube, sie würde alle bumsen, Alter. Die würde alle... Ich bin der Penis King. Yulya laughed loudly. You are you and I am me. Just imagine it. You have your mind, then you should have an imagination. Well, I would change anything. I wouldn't change anything. Why not? Because it is the way of things. It's better and less troubling this way. Huch. Hä? Okay. So, is it less troubling to sit in this camp and wait for the endless repetitions? Yes. I couldn't agree with that. Just couldn't. As long as it's in my power to change something, or even just try to do, or even just to try to, I have to act. I rose up from the ground and marched forward towards the distant city. Was good. Visible in the crimson rays of the faraway sunset. Huh? Wir kommen näher. The road took a sudden turn at last. The buildings which were just rising above the trees before disappeared from my sight, and the country landscape in front of me was replaced by industrial suburbs. It was dark already. Scattered bright stars filled the skies, still visible from where I stood but disappearing above the city, which was full of distant lights from windows and street lamps. A silent, dark night reigned behind me, interrupted only by the warbling of a sleepy night bird, the rustle of grass and the monotonous buzzing of insects, while in front of me there was a human anthill, which couldn't stop talking even for a minute, happily winking with thousands of lights and shouting with millions of voices. The road I walked seemed stranger. It was empty, as if deserted, used by neither cars nor people. Like a narrow path leading away from this world into another one. Yulya walked in silence beside me all this time. Why are you here? I asked quietly. I have to be with you. Oh, sie ist der Schlüssel Ah. Sie ist der Schlüssel, zwischen den Realitäten hin und her zu gehen. Ah. Okay. I have to be with you. Why? It's strange. The city always was on the right side and now it's in front of us. She ignored my question. Not much stranger than everything else. I've walked about 10 or 20 kilometers and it's still so far away. Far away? We may never reach it. I stopped and tried to imagine what awaits me there. Is that city similar to my home one? What is its architecture like? Who lives there? And why did I come to conclusions that there are any people there? That it isn't just an illusion? One of the lame tricks of the sick world? Even Yulya says that she's seeing all this for the first time. Huch! Suddenly the walkie-talkie I still had with me made a nasty sound, and the agitated voice of Olga said, Semyon, do you copy? Semyon! After a moment I pushed the buttons and answered, Yes. Semyon, so much is happening, come back at once. What is it? What happened? I asked without much interest. The camp leader, the pioneers, the whole camp was left far behind. Not just 1,000 kilometers, but much further. Everything that happened in the last few days lost any meaning, like a nightmare you start to forget. Now, when there was such a real world in front of me, I had no other choice but to believe that when I reach the city, everything will end. Semyon, hurry! There are no time to explain it. It's a disaster! The static grew stronger, drawing out the camp leader's voice. Will you go? Yulya asked, agitated. Where? Back there? No, why would I? But... You want me to go back? I don't know. What do you want? Really, what do I want? To get into the city? what I've been doing the whole day, or something more global to escape from this world? And what if something bad actually happens back there? That thought sent a flash of pain in my head. Something happened to Slavia, to Lena, to Jana, even to Alyssa. And why is the question? Why would I care? Not bothering me now. Not bothering us. Not bothering me now. But yes, I do care. I got so much closer with them recently. I had really got used to the life of the camp. But what will happen to the city? Will it disappear as suddenly as it appeared? And what if everything went the way Yulya described? No, I should not allow it. The walkie-talkie hissed, but I didn't want to turn it off, in case I heard something again. So, what have you decided? I had to make a decision. Decision. Und hier speichere ich. Epilogue. Keep going or go back? Huch. Okay. Wenn wir weitergehen, bekommen wir das Harem-Ende. Wenn wir zurückgehen, bekommen wir das Yulwas Ende. Ich habe gedacht, wenn wir zurückgehen, bekommen wir das Harem-Ende. Huh. Die Frage ist, mache ich zuerst das Harem-Ende? Nö, mache ich nicht. Denn mich interessiert brennend, was gerade im Camp passiert. Okay. I forced myself to speak. What? Yulya was surprised. Okay, let's go back. Weren't you expecting this answer? She smiled cunningly. No, why do you think that? Because you always say that everything repeats itself after 7 days and I can't get out of here. So, we'll check it out. Check it out! Oh, check it out? Shouldn't we check out the city for starters? It's up to you to decide. I looked at her intently. Something seemed to have changed in Yulya, but I couldn't understand what it was exactly. I've already decided. I mumbled. Then we should go. The cat girl made her way across the field in the directions of the forest with confidence. Hey, wait, where are you going? It will take less time. Less time? The thoughts started spinning in my head furiously, merging into one, which probably wouldn't be a pleasant one. So, all this time... I caught up with her in two strides and grabbed at her tail. What? Did you know all this time? That I could go straight here, without wandering for the whole day? Yulya hissed furiously and bared her teeth. I let go of her tail. No. I mean, I might have known, but you have nothing to do there. In that city? Yes. Why? I don't know. It shouldn't be that way. It's not right. I can't explain. I just know. I turned around and looked at the distant lights. I wonder, could things get any worse? It is not that everything is really bad right now, but what if that city doesn't disappear? And what's happening at the camp? What do Olga words mean? Should I still hesitate? If I have already decided what to do? Alright, let's go. We walked through the forest almost all the way, crossing forest edges and fields just a few times. Yulya seemed extremely satisfied with something. Would you explain what is happening to you? Everything is just so unusual. Because it was not like this before, everything repeated itself after 7 days. Yeah, I've heard it already. She just smiled in return. I wonder what happened back at the camp. Look! Sie hat kleine Augen! The camp gates are visible in the distance beyond the trees. We started to walk faster. Was ist los? It was clear that something was wrong. Sovjetok seemed abandoned. I could assume that pioneers went to bed, but there were no lights. Doch, da, hier, so, da ist das Licht da. Except the street lamps, and why isn't Olga waiting for us here with a biohazard squad? Und die Stadt im Hintergrund ist auch weg. She said on the radio that something happened. A strange anxiety had overwhelmed me at once. I looked at Genda and there... The city! There's no city! Oh! Yulya seemed to be surprised too, surprised for real, so I didn't jump at her with questions. Having reached the camp leader's cabin, I stopped for a moment in hesitation. Images of possible events flashed before my eyes. However, I quickly pulled myself together. This is just some nonsense. There was nothing to support the idea of this science fiction story turning into a bloody thriller. Determinedly pulled the door handle and entered the cabin. No one was inside. Well, no point in staying here then. I rushed to the cabin of Yulya and Alyssa. Without dwelling on my thoughts, I knocked on the door. But only silence responded. I walked around the cabin and looked in the window. It was empty. Well, that doesn't mean anything. They might have gone somewhere. I ran to the canteen. Maybe everybody decided to have a late dinner. However, the door was locked. I went back to the square and dropped onto a bench exhausted. Enough running, maybe? Yulya, who had followed me in silence, asked without much interest. Well, true, why did I start panicking it? What? Da war kein It. Though, what if something actually had happened? Well, I'm hungry, I'll go look for something to eat. I didn't object, and in a moment Yulya silently disappeared in the night. It's either some stupid prank, which was hard to believe, or everyone really has disappeared somewhere. The event itself isn't stranger than my arrival here, or that mysterious city. What the fuck? Da ist gerade der Fluss aus meinem Mund geflogen. So viel zu man redet sich den Mund fußlich. Or that mysterious city which showed up and then vanished, but I'd gotten used to this camp and its inhabitants, and now such a twist. I was more or less adapted to my new circumstances, and now something happens again. I cursed and covered my face with my hands. Suke! I probably have sat like that for several minutes until tears started to flow, but my eardrums were almost broken by a loud noise. Jetzt kommt ein Blowout. It sounded like a thunderclap. But where did it come from? There wasn't a cloud in the sky. Ah! I opened my eyes and saw someone in front of me. You... I uttered, stammering. A thunderstorm rumbled in the clear sky, the lightning flashes obscuring the face of the man standing before me. Why the sad face, Semyon? Who are you? I shouted. Calm down, you don't have to get so tense. Nervous cells don't regenerate, you know. My first thought was to run, but my body didn't respond to that idea. The lightning was still flashing brightly, and there was no chance to see the pioneer's face clearly. However, I was sure that I had heard that voice before. Who are you? I asked in a quiet tone. Perhaps you have more appropriate questions? Where has everyone disappeared to? They have played their parts and we don't need them anymore. Parts? What parts? Their parts. And what about the city? What city? I wasn't sure whether I caught a trace of surprise in his voice, or I was just hearing things. The city! There! I waved my hands in the direction of Chenda. Ah, you are talking about... He went silent for a moment. It's your fault. I don't understand. It's because you don't try hard enough. The pioneer raised his voice. You just need to think. Just think. How long have you been here? 5 days? 6 or 26? 6, probably. 6? Why 6? Are you sure about 6? Why are you sure? Because you counted the numbers of dusks and dawns? Or because you looked at the gate or at the date on your mobile phone? I don't know. The pioneer before me lost his temper. I had no clue what he was talking about. 6. Okay, let it be 6. He said calmly. And haven't you been here before? No. Are you sure about that too? I don't know. And what if I say that you have been here before? I had absolutely no idea how to react to his words. Something has happened to me, like on the first day here. Something inexplicable, terrifying and maybe dangerous. But I don't remember. Why do you have to remember? He fell silent, seemed lost in thought. However, you really don't remember. Well, I'll tell you then. I could hardly hear his words through the sound of thunder. My eyes were getting teary because of the lightning flashes. But I was afraid to even blink and give the pioneer a chance to disappear. He might really tell me how I turned up here. This is not the first time you've been here. I don't know how many laps you've had, but it doesn't matter. But why? I don't remember anything. You should not remember. You should not. He shouted. Sorry. I decided not to interrupt him. Yes, it is not your first time here. He continued in a calmer voice. But this time is special. It will be the last one for you. I couldn't understand what his definition of the word last was. Will I get out from here and return to my normal life, or does it mean that I'll die here? Well, that's only my opinion. He went silent for a long time. I decided to ask a question at last. How do you know all this? How? Let's say I am your brother in misfortune and... An explosion sounded nearby. It seemed like lightning struck a tree just a dozen meters away from me. I singly covered my head with hands and fell beneath the bench. I don't know how long I was lying there, but by the time I had slightly recovered from the shock, the thunderclaps had stopped. I opened my eyes. Yulya was standing where the pioneer had been standing before. So, you have met your colleague? She smiled and offered me a hand. Shocked, I didn't know what to do and I kept lying down. How long are you planning to stay here? Stay there. I stood up with difficulty. Who was that? If I have to choose the lesser evil, then I would rather trust Yulya than that mysterious pioneer. Well, how should I put it? She got lost in thought. You know, they are not... You are not... You are not the only one. To be more precise, you are the only one here, but there are more of this... there are more of the same camp. Lots of them. And there are more of the same you. A lot of them too. I didn't understand anything. Some of them can appear in other places, like this pioneer, for example. So you knew all that, but didn't tell me? You didn't ask. She shrugged her shoulders. Should I be afraid of him? I don't think you should, although... Should I or should I not? My anxiety grew. I doubt that he can take a physical form. But you should be careful with him. I had received so much information at once that I would need more than a week to comprehend it all. Though, keeping it all in mind, I understood that this information doesn't explain anything at all. So, there are lots of people like me. Yes. But how did we get here? I don't have an exact answer for that question. I just know that it is you who came here. Just one person came here. to be more precise. Yulya now looked nothing like a strange girl with animal ears, who was sparkling sugar and mushrooms. She was the exact opposite. There was confidence in her eyes, and even some arrogance, and no sign of her earlier childish infantilism. Who are you, then? Me? Yes. Honestly, I have no idea. I stared at her with an open mouth. How's that you have no idea? The only thing I remember is that I was here. I don't remember anything else. Like there was nothing else. I must watch you, all of you, and I exist in all camps simultaneously. After recovering from my shock, I continued. And you don't know who you are? Bingo! She laughed. But it's impossible. Well, I would understand amnesia, but all-powerful beings can't have it. And who told you that I'm all-powerful? Are you not? Actually, I'm capable of nothing. I can't interfere with the natural flow of events. But didn't you know or see? I know a bit of something. I saw a bit of something. And what will... well, you know... I had no idea how to put the question. Nothing. Usually 7 days pass and one of you leaves the camp. I would even say disappears. Then a new one comes and everything repeats. The number of camps is constant. We spoke about this before. Disappears. Where? I don't know. That can't be possible. You told me so much and... Do you think that I'm hiding something from you? No. I said exhausted. I guess I shouldn't doubt her words. At least for now. Maybe they don't disappear. They just go for another lap. I can't rule out that possibility, but I don't think they do. And what is happening to me now then? I can't explain this either, but I know for sure that this was meant to happen. And this is something unusual. The course of events is different this time. The pioneer spoke about it too. He might know more than me. But how should I understand all of this? I sighed deeply and covered my head with my hands. I think we will find out. We will find that out very soon. Okay, but finally, who are you then? Yulya pouted her lips. I told you before. So do you have memory loss then? No. She thought for a moment. I don't have a memory at all, probably. There was no me before this camp. I didn't exist. But I didn't finish the sentence. Taking into account everything that happens here, there was a lot that there was a lot I could only make assumptions about. And that means I should not be so surprised by a girl with animal ears. Are you something like an observer here? Probably. I think that word is the most appropriate. And what about all the inhabitants disappearing after playing their parts? What are you talking about? The pioneer said that. Oh, the pioneer said that. Parts. She moved her ears in a funny way, making me smile. There is something to it, because only you are real here. I mean you, that pioneer, and all the other ones. How's that? I told you, I don't know. You can assume that I appeared here with a limited amount of knowledge. Nothing more. There are things that I'm not sure about, and there are things that I know no more about than you. Fine. On one hand, her words seemed logical enough. If you can... if you can't even talk about logic in such a situation. And what do you suggest to do next? To wait and see how things will turn out? Yes, you can't change anything, I mumbled. Anyway, it's dinner time. She smiled merrily and waved the tail. Didn't you go to look for something? I didn't find anything. I had no time. I saw the lightning and came back at once. Let's go. She went in the direction of the canteen. She'd better stick with me. I might be dead. There was no pioneer at all. And if I wasn't the only one who can see him, then there would be less grounds to doubt my sanity, which was not feeling very secure lately.